Hello, Sam from Sound on Sound magazine here. I'm at the NAMM show in Anaheim, California, and I'm with Bill from Spectra 64.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a really interesting story that I've not come across before, but some of our readers will be familiar with the original Spectrasonics company, which was not the modern software company, but it was a company that made mixers. It was founded in 1964 by William Dilley, and that company is actually still going today. They've changed their name to Spectra 64 in order to avoid confusion with the software company.
That's correct.
But it's still the same company, still making largely the same products based on the same circuits. So there can't be many mixer companies out there that can claim to have a history like that and still be going more than 50 years later.
That's correct, yeah.
That's incredible.
In fact, this product right here is 50-year anniversary this year, the limiter.
Wow. That just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And what particularly blows my mind is this thing that we're standing in front of, which is a unit that was actually made for the legendary producer and engineer Tom Dowd back in the day.
That's correct. Mr. Dowd was originally introduced us to Stax recording and Muscle Shoals and Ardent, and so he was familiar with our equipment. And then when he did Atlantic, he had the factory build a battery-powered unit, basically a channel strip that had the compressor limiter in it, a couple of mic pre's in it, different transformers with different termination resistance. And I didn't know what it was. When we did a factory move a few years ago, we found this in a box. I had no idea what it was, and then I found the corresponding letter that went with it, which described, letter sent to Tom, this is how you use it. But that's how he designed his desk at Atlantic, was based on this little box.
Well, that was so far ahead of its time to have a portable channel strip back in the day.
Battery powered.
That's like, we all think today, you have your 500 series, you have your 19-inch rack mount units.
Right.
But back in the day, you just used whatever was in the studio, right?
That's right.
So to have this as a separate design.
His engineer was Phil Ailey, and Phil built 2 consoles based on this test. And one went to Memphis, I think it was All-American Sound, and then Tom had the other desk at Atlantic. And you can tell that desk because the faders are all the way to the top. He was a pilot. He thought throttle and level should increase towards you. So he inverted all the faders on his console, top to bottom.
Wow. So from a sort of circuit point of view, for those of us that are not familiar with Spectrasonics designs, what's sort of distinctive about them?
We were the first to use voltage transfer as far as circuit termination. We were the first ones to have, and we still do, I don't know if anybody's done it, peak overload of 1,000% with no audible distortion. All of our limiters are separate limiting and compression function, and all of our limiters are sub 100 nanosecond attack and release. So we're extremely fast. Signal noise ratio is always above 120. With the mic pre's always above 130. 90 nanosecond range times. Very fast equipment. Very quiet equipment.
So it's
Lots
a design from the 60s that's still state of the art today.
There's nothing to change. There's no headroom issues with our gear.
Wow. So at this show, you're showing a couple of new products, I understand, but based on the old circuits.
That's right.
So what do we have that's new?
Well, we took quite a few years to actually take this on, but we took the original 101, 110 format, and we put it in a 500 chassis. And the typical issues with 500 really didn't present themselves a problem with ours. We didn't have to do any power supply modifications. The 16-volt rail wasn't an issue. We're within 10% of the original specifications of the amplifier. Only draws 50 mils of current. That's all it draws. But we'll compare it against any mic pre, not a 500 series mic pre, but any mic pre, because it has the same headroom as our desks did of the day.
Wow, so get a bunch of these and it's like you have an old Spectrasonics console in a 500 series.
There's a lot of Grammy productions going on right now with this box. So it's not, we know the stigma with 500, we understand the stigma, but when you hear them you realize it's not an issue.
Cool, but it's not all 500 because you also have some rack mount gear in a DI box.
Right. We still build the 1969 version of the 610 comp limiter. Same circuits. This is the same unit that Chad Blake uses. He has like 6 of these. The only difference is it's just in a newer chassis, but the amplifiers, the limiters, all the circuits are still the same. So you could use a predecessor like a 1970s model with this unit, they're still interchangeable. So we didn't change any of that. The V610, which has become popular with the mastering folks, is this unit with precision Swiss-made Elma switches for recall. And quite a few mastering houses have gone to that, primarily for the limiter function. and they put it in the front of the chain, and everything that follows has 6, 10, 12 dB more headroom because of the limiter.
Well, if you have an analog limiter that's faster than a single sample in a digital system, then you can effectively brick wall using it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's correct. In fact, we say you can go into the VU world. Anything that follows our limiters, you just worry about the VU meter. You don't worry about the peak lights anymore because the peaks are gone. So we're not trying to unsell anybody's equipment. We're just saying whatever you own, you'll have extended harmonics, you'll have more headroom and a better noise number.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you were also introducing these lovely blue DI boxes.
The DI came about because we were having to recommend DIs as a bass guitar or guitar DI for our limiters, and we finally just designed one using a totally different concept where it's extremely flat. There's no harmonics, there's no signature, and when people plug into it, they hear things they haven't heard before in a DI. So it's very natural sounding, but the people that have gone and used it with pretty quick acceptance to being a different sounding DI, particularly between 100 and 500 cycles, good articulation, and above 10 kilohertz. But it is passive, which surprises a lot of people.
So it's transformer-based DI?
Yes, it's a precision transformer. That's the key, is the transformer. And then we did a little different design than most everybody else. We were concerned more with voltage transfer, so things are a lot more linear, and it doesn't load the instruments in the same way.
Wow, well, thanks for showing us all that. This is revelatory to me. What sort of price points are we looking at for these products?
This is in the $900 retail category. This is $300, below $300. The limiters are in the $1,600, $1,700, and then the mastering is $2,600.
Wonderful, and they're all available now to buy.
Yes, they are.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Bill. That's been fascinating.
Appreciate your time. I really like your magazine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.